today at Soundcheck Studios. I'm Brian Farquhar. We're here with John Hudak from Brickwall Jackson. He is the songwriter, lead guitar player, and one of the singers of the band. How you doing today, John?
Doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for spending your Sunday with us. We were checking out our brand new microphone system wireless microphone system, I have to add, for the acoustic guitar here at the studio, and he was comparing it to his LR Bags. And what was the model of the LR?
LR Bags M1. It's the passive.
The passive M1. Mm-hmm. Tell us what you thought A and B comparison between the microphones and pickups.
Well, the Bags was louder, but hands down, your system was much more authentic sounding, and it reproduced the low end in a way that I think you couldn't really tell the difference. Standing in front of the amp versus standing in front of the acoustic guitar, it was a one-to-one comparison in terms of the frequency range and the dynamics and whatnot. I mean, it was definitely, I was impressed. I mean, I've never heard, particularly a wireless solution, sound that good with an acoustic instrument.
Right. Yeah, that's the kicker, is you have the freedom of motion. So if you are on stage, you're not tied to anything.
Yeah.
Like that.
Couldn't have come at a moment too soon, because we've got a lot of acoustic numbers on the new record, and
yeah, they're great.
You know, I've been sweating bullets since we finished up. Like, man, how am I going to reproduce this live?
Right.
Because I had a couple of other guitars that came with onboard electronics, and first of all, I didn't like the way they sounded acoustically. Just I feel like all that extra plastic and everything just really robs the guitar of its tone. And then I of course didn't like the way they sounded when they were plugged in either.
Right.
And without spending thousands of dollars on a multi-source system with preamps and my own little PA to haul around, which I can't do.
Right.
Just practically. I mean, I'm already hauling around 5 Gretches and several Fender amps, and a wah-wah. So I don't have room to carry all that stuff. This was a great solution, and it works well with the Fishman amp.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about the fact that it sounds very authentic, and also, because it's the same guitar that was used on the record, that
right.
it's gonna sound that way live. And so that for me is just it just takes a load off my mind.
That's one of the main advantages. You'll notice from the video, we actually have a custom lute hole cover that mounts the microphone into the guitar, so that way you can universally fit it into any sound hole, so long as it's is at least as big as the microphone, which is what is it, 3.5 inches?
3 inches.
3 inches.
Yeah.
So a lot of different size sound holes we can put this thing in. Another thing I wanted to mention was the time it took to get it in and out of the guitar. That was a big difference.
Yeah, so most of the other systems that I've dealt with, you've got to either clamp something onto the wood, which I don't like to do. I mean, and I've got a Martin D18, and I love it, and I don't want to mess it up.
No.
And so a lot of the other systems that you deal with, including the Bags, which the Bags is a great pickup. It's as far as magnetic pickups goes, I mean, you can't get any better than LR Bags, in my opinion. So,
right.
But you still have to clamp those little feet onto the sound hole, and I'm always nervous. Am I going to over tighten this?
Right.
In the heat of the moment, if I'm in a hurry. And yours, it was like 30 seconds. You basically just slide that little wafer in there,
mm-hmm.
and there's something comforting about knowing there's foam
yeah.
in there. You're
Protect
not hurting
the
your
finish.
yeah. You're not hurting your baby.
Nope.
And then the other part that slides in with the mic, it was no more difficult than putting a humidifier into
right.
the sound hole. Those humidifiers that you get for.
Now there's an idea. Maybe we should include humidification with our microphones. If we could figure that one out, then we'd really be onto something.
Yeah. Well, you're doing all right where you are now. I mean, but yeah, it only took about less than a minute to get it in, and then same to get it out, and it didn't move around, didn't shift around. There was no pick noise. I mean, it's a microphone.
Yeah.
So it worked great. I mean, I really liked the tone and the fact that it was very authentic.
Great. Yeah, if you're using high dollar wood, you want to hear it, right?
Yeah, I mean, anybody out there who plays Martin guitars knows they're not cheap.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at an OM28 now to sort of round out the collect. Well, it won't round out the collect. If I could only ever use acoustic instruments, if I could get away with that, even playing with Brickwall Jackson and doing the music that I write for the band, I would do it. I've always loved acoustic instruments, and the one frustration, in 34 plus years of playing, has been that I could never find a solution that would, amplify the acoustic instruments authentically. They didn't sound musical. They sounded very artificial, very fake.
Right.
Not even electric, sort of like halfway between an electric and acoustic. And this sounds exactly like the guitar. It's like, when I heard at one point when you guys were over there fiddling with the amp, I couldn't tell whether the amp was even on because
you're right. That's a big confusion. You feel the vibration of the guitar, and then you hear the sound coming at you, and it kind of blends together in a way that just like joins you up with
it was wild, man. I mean, I've never felt that. I mean, most of the other solutions that all of the other solutions I've used. I mean, when that sucker's on, you know it.
Yeah.
But the other thing I noticed too is that, even though it's a mic, it didn't feed back the way I would expect a mic to feed back. I mean, we had a couple little spots, but we were really being jerks about it. We were trying
8-inch 120 watt Class D amplifier. We had it. I mean, we were probably pumping like 65, 70 decibels in there.
You mean out of the amp?
Yeah.
We were close.
At least.
Yeah. No, we were definitely at around 100 dB.
Wow.
dBA or dB.
100 dBA.
Yeah.
We'll measure it next time.
And that room is all padded because we were doing it in your studio.
Yeah.
So I mean, live it would be more than enough for a stage monitor, I would think.
Oh yeah.
And the off switch on the mic is nice. So if
Yes.
it does start to feedback, you can just flip the switch off. That's very nice.
Yeah, there's no clicking, no popping sound.
Leave it on the stand until you're ready to use it and turn it on. So yeah, that's very well thought. I think it's stuff like this is brilliant. I love it when people take things that already exist, but put them in a new configuration and maybe add a few little enhancements. But it's a configuration that maybe was never thought of before. And usually, what I find is it's something that makes it just that much easier to use. Musicians are, as much as we love gear, we don't typically buy gear that's hard to use.
No.
I mean, there are very few guitar players out there who actually get up on stage and use really complex computerized type stuff because it robs you of being able to get into your performance.
Well, John, we would like to thank you for coming in today and trying out our product. Hopefully, we'll have one available for you very shortly. It sounds like you're already a customer.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I appreciate you letting me come down and check it out because honestly, I've heard a lot of claims about a lot of products. You guys are the first ones that have actually delivered. I mean, I've bought pedals that were supposed to be transparent. I hate pedals, but it's a compromise you have to make when you play live because you can't take 15 amps with you on stage unless you're Rick Nielsen or something. But you guys are the first ones that were actually, I think the product exceeded what you were telling me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I wish you guys a lot of luck. And yeah, I'm definitely a customer. So thanks again.
You're very welcome. We'll see you soon, John. Thank you.